I'm quite sure you've heard of don't drink and drive. Well, there's something in writing that you should also know about that's equally treacherous. Don't think and write. Now, before you come for me and be like, girl, my allergies done gone to your head, girl, which they probably have, but not when it comes to this. I know what I'm talking about because if you are not about that writer's block life, then this video is for you because in it, I'm going to show you how to avoid writer's block so that you can write your book with ease. So in this video, I'm going to cover number one, what is writer's block and what causes it? Number two, how to avoid writer's block's tactical triggers. And number three, how to avoid writer's block's emotional triggers because we can be triggered.
I'm Denise Renee, a business book writing coach and manuscript editor. I can help you write a book that shares your experience or expertise and grows your personal or business brand. This video is one piece of that puzzle, so let's jump in.
I encourage you to watch the entire video for full context, or you could check the timestamps down in the description box for easier navigation. So you can head straight to the part of the video you want to watch most. But about that full context, this video is video number 3 of a 5-video series I call the Writer's Toolkit. The playlist is linked in the description so you can check out all of the videos in the series. The first video in the series helped you create and commit to a writing schedule. The second video in the series showed you an easy process for getting words on the page. And this video is going to help you keep those words flowing so that you finish your manuscript. Now, the entire series is based on my proprietary 4 steps to start writing your book coaching framework. Each video is breaking down the essential steps in the process so that you have the tools to finally write your book. You can download my framework for free at writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps. All right, so let's get into it. Number 1, what is writer's block and what causes it? You probably already know because you've probably experienced it a time or 2 or 20 or 50, but that's okay. Writer's block is essentially when a writer feels stuck creatively and they just are not able to continue writing, or even it can happen to any type of creative when you feel like you're just between a rock and a hard place, you're at an impasse, and you just can't go any further on the project that you're currently working on. Now, you want to avoid writer's block at all costs. Why? I mean, have you ever heard anyone say, sign me up for writer's block, please? Said no writer ever. Yeah, no one wants to feel stuck. That's a horrible feeling. It sucks. I mean, all you are is filled with self-doubt and worry. Who likes that? Right. That is so destructive to the creative process. Writer's block erodes your confidence. And if you're not feeling confident, you're not going to want to finish your book or any creative project that you're working on. And without finishing your book, since we're talking about books here in particular, you are doing a disservice to yourself and to the audience of people that you are meant to serve. If your book never gets finished, never gets released to the public, the people that your words and your advice, and your methodology, or your encouragement is meant to serve, the people whose lives are or businesses are meant to be transformed by your work, it'll never happen. And you cheat yourself out of the opportunity to having your own life transformed as a result of releasing this into the world. Trust me, I know this from personal experience as someone who has been letting her own form of writer's block stop her from publishing a book for the last 5 years. But no more, because you finna see this book real soon. And not just on my computer screen. And so from experience, I know that not having my book has cost me money and opportunities. And the same for you if you allow yourself to get stuck in writer's block. All of the wonderful opportunities, collaborations, potential clients, speaking opportunities in media, all of those things remain closed if you don't have your book. Do you want that? No, you don't. So that's why you're going to keep watching this video to learn how we can avoid all of this. Okay? So coming up, I'm going to be talking about how to avoid the tactical and the emotional triggers that can cause writer's block. But first, we need to talk about what they are. So, these are some of the tactical triggers that can cause writer's block. Number one, not having a writing process. Now, I work with a lot of business people and professionals who want to write a book because they're feeling a little bit of FOMO. They see other peers in their industry who are writing books and they're getting ahead. They're the ones who are getting the speaking engagements. They're the ones whose social media followings is blowing up. They're the ones who's getting all the consulting opportunities and the new clients. And they're like, well, I wanted on that, so I need to write a book too. And rightfully so. But they may not necessarily be well practiced at writing. Some people are in industries and fields where they don't have to produce content on a regular basis. And so coming into writing a book is actually rather overwhelming. They may know their particular industry, they have their insider tips and tricks, but when it comes to translating that into pen and paper or digital words on the page, that's a different skill set that, again, they're just not well practiced at. And that's okay because, baby, I got you. We're going to get you all the way together. So, I'm always sharing about my writing process, which we'll get into a little bit later in this video. But honestly, having a regular system for writing can help you avoid sitting down to your blank notebook or your blank computer screen feeling like, what do I write? How do I write it? How long should I be writing for? This entire series is about taking care of all of that for you, answering those questions so that when you sit down to write, you've got something to say, you're going to be consistent, the words are going to flow, and you will finish your manuscript. Having a writing process is going to help you avoid trying to eat the elephant in one whole go. We're going to break things down into bite-sized, manageable pieces, all right? That's why you have your RTGs from the first video where you're committing to writing 15 minutes a day. In the second video, we gave you a practical way to do brain dumps so that your words are coming out on the page and staying there. And today we're going to refine that a little bit further because I'm going to teach you how to separate your thinking time from your writing time. So another tactical problem that can contribute to writer's block is not having a writing community. Listen, even though you are writing by yourself or these are just your ideas, the best writing happens in community. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to sit down and write with 15,000 people around you, but it does mean that, yes, you do sit down, you do your writing alone, but you do not just put it out there without other people having an opportunity to give their professional and even lay opinion. So you want to have a community of writers and readers who are going to help give you feedback on your book. Having editors in your community, having beta readers in your community, having trusted colleagues and maybe even family and friends who are qualified, who are in the industry or at least aware of the industry that you're in, who can give you valuable feedback. Because when you're doing something, anything alone, it's tough. And then it's too easy, especially with writing, to stay in your head and not get some outside opinions to say, hey, yeah, this is working really well for you. This area, you might want to think about a little bit more how you want to approach and make that better. That is what having a writing community is all about. Because one of the things that you don't want to do is you don't want to just write everything by yourself, just put it out there, and then now you have people who bought your book giving you feedback, and it's harsh. Ain't nobody got time for that. Avoid negative reviews. Avoid people saying this didn't really help me at all because you want to take care of that before you hit publish. Now, writer's block can also be caused by emotional triggers. It's just emotions tearing me apart. you know, in every video I'm gonna bust out in some kind of song or something, child. So definitely writer's block can be brought on by feeling unsure or insecure in your writing skills. If it's not something that you're used to doing on a regular basis, you might be feeling unsure about the topic. You might say, well, I know this topic, I'm a fan of this topic, but I'm not an expert. I don't know enough. And you might be feeling a whole lot of internal and external pressure to compete with other people or meet other people's expectations. I mean, I think a really famous example right now is Cardi B. I'm neither a fan nor a hater. I kind of like her personality, but I'm not really into her style of hip hop. But the young lady has not put out an album, as they say, in about 7 years. I can't believe it's been that long. But people are like, girl, when we get in this next album, the music industry has changed. I mean, it literally changes minute to minute. And I can understand feeling intimidated and feeling the pressure after, your first album goes, spectacularly berserko, you get Grammys and everything like that. It's a lot of hype to then live up to. So I get it. I had a similar issue when I was a senior in college. I had all this pressure on me for writing my English thesis, and I'm here 35 years later and I'm totally fine. But when it's in front of you and you haven't gotten beyond the other side of it, it feels like it's the most important thing in the world, and it just feels big and insurmountable. And I get it. That's why you want to have a community behind you to help you through all of this. So don't worry, we're about to get into what we can do to avoid all of this. But before we do, let me ask you this question. Is any of this shedding some light on the past times that you have struggled with writer's block or struggle with any kind of creativity block? If so, go ahead and drop me a light bulb emoji in the comments so I know that this is shedding light on things for you and you feel like, you know what, Denise Renee, you got the good girl. You hooking us up. And while you're down in the comments, go ahead and like and subscribe to this video so that YouTube can show you more of my light bulb inducing content. All right. So let's get into number 2, how to avoid the tactical writer's block triggers. I had to say that slow, child, because I don't feel like doing too much editing to this video. So for this, I only have one tip, but that tip is pretty deep. So buckle up. You need to learn how to separate your thinking time from your writing time. Yes. Don't worry, we get into it right now. So I mentioned in my last video, what was the last video? It is on the tip of my tongue and it just don't work about. This one is about writer's block. That one was about brain dumps. Lord. So in my last video, I mentioned that the hardest skill for writers to learn is to learn how to flip between the creative and the critical sides of their brain. A lot of times we are letting both sides fire at the same time. And guess what? When one side is shooting at the other side, they just cancel each other out. And when it comes to writing, that means you are left the way you started, with a blank page. Nobody got time for that. So if you want stuff up on the page, you have to learn how to be in each moment. Is this a creative moment? Is this where we are writing? Or is this a critical moment where we are thinking objectively about what we've put on the page? Creating is your writing time. Critiquing is your thinking time. It's real easy to think that you're gonna sit down at your computer and there's going to be some unbroken line of idea, thoughts to page. Sometimes there is. Most time there isn't. As I like to say, if your first draft is not your final draft, you're going to have to work it over. And you can't write and edit at the same time. You just can't. This is why we have a writing process. And your book is going to go through several rounds in this process before it's ready for the public. So let me give you some really practical tips here. So every time you show up for your 15-minute RTG, or if you set your RTG for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, every time that you sit down for your writing session, you must set an intention for it, okay? And to set your intention, ask yourself these questions. Number 1, will you be creating today or writing? Or will you be curating today? The thinking. Number 2, if this happens to be your first writing session, then you're going to be creating. I mean, there's nothing on the page yet, all right? So that question will be answered for you if you're just getting started with a new idea or a new book project. And in your first sessions, that's where you're going to be doing your brain dump from the last video. Now, if you're breaking up your brain dump over the course of multiple RTGs, then each of those sessions are writing sessions. Each of those sessions are creative sessions. Each of those sessions are where you are letting your ideas flow and you are not criticizing them. And the minute you feel a critical thought coming in, you've got to snatch it. You have to snatch it and say, no, no, no. I'm here to just let the ideas flow and let them live on the page. All right. Now, once you've gone beyond the brain dump phase, and I called the brain dump, that's you creating your word clay, what you're going to be working with, what you're going to be manipulating and shaping and editing and curating and all of those good, fun, creative things, right? And let's be clear, editing is a creative process as well. But anyway, I'm already giving you a TED talk, so we'll workshop that one in another TED talk later, okay? Right? But when you have moved beyond the brain dump phase, and now you're going to be working more with your word clay that you've created, you have to decide: am I going to be adding to this brain dump? Am I writing more? Am I refining this a bit more? Or am I going to be cutting away and curating and thinking about what stays or what goes? So you have to know when you're going into your writing session what your writing session is about. So if you're going into a writing or a creative time, here are some tips for you. Number one, write freely. Always. If it's a writing session, treat it like a mini brain dump session, whether you're adding to it or you're coming back to a revision and you're looking at it and you want to refine or choose different words or things like that. That's fine. If it's creative, if you're writing, just write and use the same rules that you had for your brain dump here. There's no criticism, there's no judgment. All the ideas get to live. All ideas are good ideas, and we're just getting them down for now. We'll edit later. Get into a creative flow. Lose yourself in your thoughts. And for the love of all words, please don't consult any outside sources. Okay? This is all about understanding your thoughts, your process, what you've got going on in your head. There will be time for taking in input from outside sources later. Now, here are some tips for your thinking or your critiquing time. These are the types of activities that you should be doing when you've decided, okay, I've got my word clay, it's time to start shaping and molding it. So these are the kinds of things that you should be doing during your curating sessions or your thinking sessions or your editing sessions. I use all of those words interchangeably to mean the same thing. So in your thinking slash critiquing time, you are organizing your thoughts. You're creating an outline. You should have a full scope of your book project and the goals that you want to hit. So you got to outline that content. This is another great time to be thinking about your marketing activities for your book. What are you going to be doing? What types of audiences are you trying to reach? What are your marketing channels going to be, etc.? What's the marketing copy for the back of the book or for the emails or for whatever it is that you're doing? These are perfect thinking, critical, critiquing type activities. You're going to be very contemplative about what you've written. You're going to be considering. You're going to be pondering. Okay? You want to put yourself in the shoes of your audience. You know how, like on your phone, you have a camera and you can either have the camera facing out or you could flip it and look inwards. Well, usually when we're writing, we're looking inwards. We're looking at the selfie camera. But now you need to flip the view and look from outward. What's your audience going to see? You have to take on their mindset and say, well, if someone was 100% unfamiliar with me, would they understand what I'm trying to say? Do I need to provide more context? Would a 5-year-old understand this? I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, and if it needs to go down to 5-year-old level, but you get what I'm saying, okay? And during your critiquing time, that's a great opportunity to consult outside forces. It's a great time to consult outside sources. So if you have feedback from an editor, review that feedback. If you have feedback from your beta readers, review that feedback and begin to think about how and where to incorporate their feedback into the next version of your draft. All right, so ultimately, you cannot think and write at the same time. You see how the different types of activities that you'll be doing in each section? All right. So now let's get into number 3, which is how to avoid emotional writer's block triggers. All right. And for this one, I only have one tip, but again, it's very deep. And that one tip is that you really want to be vigilant about identifying and redirecting negative thoughts. And know it's a tall order. We're not perfect at it, but we still have to practice it. I'm not perfect at it. I'm better than I used to be, but hey, practice makes progress. So during both your creative and critiquing times, you've got to learn how to avoid unhelpful language, especially unhelpful self talk. Okay, the voice in the head that likes to, all right, and tell you all of the things that you're not and all of the things that you can't do. Yeah, that voice, it gotta go. It's not helping us at all. So, what are some of the things that that voice says when we are writing? It says, this is dumb. This sounds stupid. What do people think about what you wrote? This isn't good enough. You know what? I think you need to add more stuff to this because it's just not enough. This isn't valuable enough. No one's gonna find value in this. And this is where you need to Beyonce your inner monologue. Put it on mute as a noisy car drives by. But yeah, so instead of those types of thoughts, because sometimes you may not be able to stop them from coming in, but as soon as they come in, I want you to flip them on their head, just like you got to flip that camera, okay? So, what I want you to do is cultivate neutral thoughts, all right? So, think of things like I'm expressing my ideas. It's neither saying that those ideas are good or bad, you're just expressing your ideas. They're not dumb, they're just ideas. See where I'm headed? Okay. So you can always tell yourself, yes, I'm putting this down now, and I can always revisit this idea later. Okay. That's how we're going to keep our word clay on the page so that we can work with it later. Because if you're like, this is dumb, delete, you ain't got nothing. You can't edit a blank page. Here's another neutral thought to think about, especially when those thoughts are saying, this is not valuable enough, this is not helpful enough. You want to tell yourself that as long as my work helps somebody, it's good enough. And another thing for just helping you to stay in the process is say, good is good enough for right now. Progress over perfection. Perfection, if there is such a thing, is the editing phase. All right. Right now, we just need to make progress. We just need to finish the first draft or finish the second draft or whichever draft you're on. I love this one. Tell yourself it doesn't have to be perfect for me to move on. Ooh, I love that one. Or to move forward. Something else to say is my editor, Denise Renee, is going to help me perfect this later. All right. And you can also tell yourself, you know what? My beta readers will help me see what I'm missing because it's too easy to listen to your voice and say, oh, it's missing this, it's missing that. And then you get into somebody else's hands and say, hey, you know what? This was really helpful. I didn't think about that before. That's why you need a community and you cannot write alone. So, what's good about this language is that it doesn't classify your writing as good or bad, like I said earlier. And it helps you remain neutral so that you can keep moving forward. Now, there is danger in believing your own hype. You don't want to be like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. And then you put it out there and it's crickets and people don't like it and they don't respond to it. You don't want to swing the pendulum in that direction either. Okay, that's not helpful. And again, having a writing community is going to help bring you back down to size and keep you realistic. But if you're too self deprecating, you'll never have a book to sell. You'll never put anything out there. And we don't want that. What we want is for you to keep on writing. What we want is for you to have a solid writing process. So what I want for you to do is watch this video next because it's going to dive deeper into the writing process. And I want you to take what we've talked about in this video and keep it in the back of your mind as I dive deeper into the create, curate, and complete format for writing. Click on that video now and I'll see you over there.